Alright guys, today we have a nice treat. It is 50 websites, resources, whatever you want to call them, for you to learn to code, for you to become a better developer, all that sort of stuff. I'm giving you 50 reasons to succeed in a world in which you could have a million reasons to fail. But here we go. I hope you enjoy them. I'm going to try to go through it as fast as possible just because there's 50 of them. Might we start off this wonderful video by thanking our long-term sponsor, DevMountain.com. Give yourself another reason to succeed by going to DevMountain.com and starting your career in software development, web development, quality assurance, Salesforce, and much more. That's DevMountain.com. All right, now that we got the sponsor video out of the way, let's jump into the content. So freecodecamp.org is a open source online bootcamp. You've seen me do a lot of videos in it. It's how I got my start in web development. One of the main reasons. They're currently updating their curriculum. They are going to be pushing out new content that's going to be React focused on the front end. They're going to have a quality assurance certificate. Currently they have front end quality assurance. They're going to have a front end quality assurance, responsive design, microservices, and JavaScript algorithms, all of which are several hundred hours of coursework. I couldn't recommend it more. freecodecamp.org. Check it out, guys. Udemy. What do we all know about Udemy, hopefully. Udemy is a online course platforms. There's a lot of free courses on here. There's a lot of paid courses on here. I use it currently. You'll see here if we go to my courses, I'm currently working through the Angular 5 course by Maximilian. That is 25 hours of coursework. I think I paid $12 for it. You can't beat that sort of stuff. You see right here my previous Angular 4 front to back by Traverse Media. A lot of stuff on there. I have my own courses on there. Building projects. I'm going to be releasing more. So if you're interested in my course, there'll be a link in the description down below. All right. Next up, Bootstrap at getbootstrap.com. I think I put this on here. I don't know why the site's down, but I put this on here because I think it's important for you to be familiar with Bootstrap because a lot of workplaces use it, as a basic, the column grid system, as some basic styling so that, there may, in certain circumstances where, let's say you're building administrative tools, we don't really care about what it necessarily looks like. There's no detailed pixel perfect wireframe or anything like that. Just make a button that looks all right. Bootstrap's a great example of that, and I think it's worth bringing up to get familiar with it. Now, another site, unsplash.com. These are all beautiful free photos, as they say, and they are beautiful and they are free, and they're high resolution free photos. The reason I bring this up is I use this for resources for thumbnails. I've used it in the past when I've been doing projects, web design based projects where I need a filler image. So you have all these high end free resolution pictures, completely free. You don't even have to make an account. Just click it, download it, and you're good to go. Definitely worth checking out. Udacity. Udacity is a online learning platform in which they have these nano degrees. Now, they have free courses, but really what they're selling are these nano degrees, which are feedback-given courses, and they're usually $300 to $500 depending on it. And they've recently released a lot of new ones, including Design Sprint Foundations, Google AdWords, which is really cool in my opinion because SEO is something and digital marketing is something that has been exploding for quite some time. So definitely check them out. But they have free stuff on here. Take advantage of the free stuff. I know $500 for a course is quite a bit, but keep in mind that with that $500, you get feedback from people who you submit your projects to. And they'll say, oh, here's another way of doing this, essentially doing code reviews. And I think that is worth the $500 in my opinion because you get so much feedback from that to, how can I do it like a pro instead of like a noob is how I kind of look at it. All right. Codecademy, the good old days. Codecademy actually just released some new content recently on Express, and I want to say another JavaScript-based library. I'll have to try and refresh my memory. But Codecademy is another interactive learning platform, similar to Free Codecamp. I personally think Free Codecamp is great, and Codecademy is great. That people always want you to choose one or the other, and if I had to, I'd choose Free Codecamp. But what I'm telling you right now is that you should learn both, or you should do both, because it's going to reinforce the things that are important, and not every course is is the same. It's worth diving into Codecademy. It's a little bit more on the easier end, while Free Codecamp's a little bit more intermediate, I would say, if you wanted to think of it that way. But I think it's a great way to be exposed to things and learn. You can see right here these various courses I've touched a little bit. So this is just some of them. They have a ton. They also cover a ton of different stuff. Free Codecamp is a JavaScript only base curriculum. While you can see here they have web development, programming, data science, and some partnerships such as the Amazon Alexa and Watson API. So something to look at. W3 Schools, probably one of the most favorite documentation sites of anyone. And you can call me a noob. I know. So here's a little thing. A lot of hipster senior devs like to pretend like W3 Schools isn't legit. It's legit, boys. I'll tell you right now, all these hipster senior devs just like hating on these things because, you know, the junior devs do it. The reason I'm saying that is, anyhow, there's a lot of great examples of documentation in here. It's very up to date. Also, when you actually, they have this try it yourself aspect, which is kind of nice, where you can see the code, you can then edit the code. So instead of color white, for instance, we go ahead and make it red, run the code. And this is very helpful. I think this is one of those things where, like, oftentimes you read something, but until you do it and you change it and you run it yourself, it doesn't make a lot of sense or it doesn't stick. And so here's another site that's great at that. So w3schools.com is another great resource. A lot of documentation there in JavaScript and all the other various frameworks and languages that it covers. So developer.mozilla.org. So the reason I bring this up is it's very similar to W3 Schools, except it doesn't have the run the aspect of it, which I think is important. But also W3 Schools does go a little bit light on the documentation, meaning it's not going to go into as much detail. It'd be like, all right, well, this reverses an array. It's going to show you it reverses an array, but it's not going to show you 5 different ways how it may be used, and in those, 99% of the time you're just going to reverse an array. That 1% of the time where there's 4 different use cases, and you're going to dive into the optional parameters of function calls or method calls. The Mozilla docs are great for that, and that's why I wanted to bring them up. Code Combat, another one that I've done quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun now. I think it's a lot of fun where you get to essentially play out a role-playing game through their system and enter in commands. And you'll see right here, you have your code you're putting in, and then you have to cross levels. You actually build out your character. You get to equip them. It's like a RPG coding game, and there's a ton of content. I've done like 200 levels myself. I haven't touched it in a while, but I've done about 200 levels myself, and I think there's about 700 more. So if you're looking for essentially what are mini algorithms, I encourage you to check it out, especially if you're just looking for something a little different, something a little fun. I definitely enjoyed myself while I was doing this, and it becomes a challenge very quickly. Code Fights. You guys know I love some Code Fights. So codefights.com is a algorithm solving site, and it's something that I use particularly when I was trying to get prepared for job interviews. This is what I was using it for, because a lot of times you're doing whiteboard algorithms, you're doing algorithms on the internet, you're just doing algorithms. You're never going to do an algorithm on the job, but you're doing algorithms in the interview, and you have to be prepared for that. And so that's what I did it here. You can see I solved 93 of the algorithms here. And there's different sections. They even have a database section, a Python section. Now you can solve these algorithms in here in about 40 different languages. One thing to keep in mind that's kind of cool is that they actually, once you get a certain level, they'll actually interview you to see if you want to take on any roles or anything like that. So they also have interview practice. These are actual questions that are from major companies like Google, for instance, First Duplicate. And so they try to prep you that way as well. All right. So we should go without saying that YouTube.com, if you haven't heard of it, it's a great site, specifically the channel Coding Tutorials 360. So the reason I bring up YouTube is it's probably the greatest online free resource because it's all free. It's not like you can buy anything on YouTube, not that I'm aware of anymore. But there's a lot of people who are very passionate, such as myself. I have a video talking about the top 5 or top 10 coding channels you should follow. I'm big fans of a lot of the other coding channels, and I think it's a good opportunity for you to basically find whatever you want, because a lot of times you're trying to learn code and it's hard to find that up-to-date stuff. But when you see something got uploaded 2-3 days ago, or a YouTuber that fits your learning style, who you can understand when he's giving explanations, or she, all right, and YouTube is a great platform for that. Another thing, up next, code.org. Code.org, I have volunteered through code.org. Code.org has its own resources, and they're really an organization trying to get children to code earlier and more often, and they have a lot of resources here for you to review. One thing I will say is I volunteered through code.org. If you are somebody who's got a year or 2 experience under your belt, or just passionate computer science student, whatever it is, you can volunteer through them and put yourself into a database in which people will reach out to you and you can help speak. I did it when I first got down to Florida. I'm doing it again pretty soon, where I'm going to an elementary school and speaking to the kids for a couple hours, of which last time they asked how much money I make and did I code Minecraft. So I'm expecting kind of the same thing, but you can volunteer. Make some kids a little bit more passionate about STEM and software development, and just do some good in the community. Code.org is a great resource, as well as just, they have other resources here if you're trying to teach your kids how to code. All right, let's continue on. Pramp. Pramp is a free open source interviewing platform. Like I said, I did algorithms, but sometimes can you do algorithms while someone is there staring at you ever so awkwardly, judging you every moment of your algorithm test? I don't know, maybe. But Pramp gets you prepared for that real world situation. So check it out, pramp.com. You can sign up. It's completely free. You get matched with someone who you're looking to. Say you have an Angular interview and you need to make sure that you're ready for Angular. They'll test you on Angular. You have a JavaScript interview. They want to test you on JavaScript. You kind of get the idea from this picture here, but they'll set it up. All right. University.mongodb.com. So this is something I've used. If you're interested in MongoDB, the creators of MongoDB have their university, and they have free courses for you to take that teach you the ins and the outs of MongoDB. Who's better to teach you courses on MongoDB than the creators and the people who are coding MongoDB? So check that out if you're interested in MongoDB. Girl Develop It. This is another one. This is a platform for an organization that oftentimes is trying to get women involved in coding. GirlDevelopIt.com. They have a ton of organizations, and they're in both those cities. I see them all the time in St. Pete. Most of their courses I see are paid, so if it's like an 8-hour course, it'll go like all Saturday. It's gonna be about $100. So if you're interested in that, but they do have some free online courses and online aspects of it as well. But if you want to be, maybe a little intimidating, right? Being the only woman at a meetup, this is kind of something to ease you in, is how I think of it. I kind of don't like necessarily when organizations have specific gender and ethnic attachments, but here's an organization it's me to share. It's not my opinion. Anyhow, girldevelopit.com. If you're interested in that, check it out. LinkedIn is next. So a couple things about LinkedIn. One, get a LinkedIn, because you need a LinkedIn portfolio in today's working world. Two, they have free courses on here. LinkedIn is trying to launch their own. They did. I don't know if it's all that great, but I haven't had a chance to take the courses. But they have LinkedIn Learning, in which oftentimes I'm getting emails all the time that they're giving away free courses. Essentially, LinkedIn Learning is creating their own Udacity and Udemy platform, and it's on a month-to-month basis, if I remember, but you can kind of see here there's multiple courses just going down here, and they're going to cover things other than just software. They're going to cover things like thinking like a leader, which is just as important. Although for the 80,000 people who watch this, I wish you could have. There's nothing worse to think like a leader than following a video, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But something to consider. All right. tutsplus.com or code.tutsplus.com. Tons and tons and tons of ebooks, courses, check them out. I'm not super familiar with this, but I have a friend who loves it, and it's very clean site, by the way. I love the site design. But you can see right here, 1,000 courses, 25,000 tutorials. Quite a bit on here. A lot of projects, documentation, all that sort of stuff. Check it out. HackerEarth.com. Challenges, algorithm challenges, projects. I haven't used HackerEarth too much, but I know a lot of you guys do and are interested in it. I would check it out. Just another resource to practice, do some challenges. All right, fonts.google.com. So this is a great way to make your website spicy, as I like to say, to make your web application a little bit spicy, and go ahead and get some fonts from Google. And they have this nice drag and drop tool. We'll drag, and you can kind of filter through the fonts to find what you want. Like, I want a little bit more slant in my font. But yeah, so fonts.google.com to get yourself a little bit more spicy of a font. I think it's a great resource. I use it all the time. JSBeautifier.org. So this is a great one. Oftentimes I find myself having to get this minified code, minified JSON, whatever it is, and I need it to be able to be beautiful again. I need it to be a dime piece for me. And so JSBeautifier.org essentially makes it so I paste in this long ass string, and it will organize it for me so that I can actually read it, and it's readable code. So check that out. I don't think this was supposed to be on the list. Heroku. So Heroku is a platform as a service. So let's say you have a server-side application, and such as a Node.js application, and you need somewhere to launch it, and you're not quite sure. You're like, can I do it through GoDaddy? I don't know what to do. Heroku does it for you, and essentially allows you to launch your application, whether that's a Ruby on Rails, whether it's a PHP backend, a JavaScript backend. Heroku is great in that, and I believe, it's been a while since I've used Heroku, I believe that up until a point it's pretty much free. So like, unless you have like right here, so free. So essentially you can have it going for free for most of all of your projects, unless your projects pick up a little bit of speed, at which point it's pretty cheap and affordable. But it's definitely something to consider out. So especially if you have a back-end application that you want to not just show the code, but you actually want to show it working, check out Heroku.com. Code School, another online platform to learn. Now, most of Code School's courses start off free and then continue on to be paid courses, but you can see here they have a lot of stuff going on: HTML, JavaScript, Elixir, Android, PHP, .NET. Not a lot of .NET courses out there. I'll be honest with you. I recently am making a transition from front end at my job to full stack, and I will be doing C# and .NET, and so it'll be interesting to see what C# and .NET courses I can find online for free. I'm having a feeling your boy's dropping a few bucks on Udemy, though. iOS, Git, electives. I don't know what electives are, but database. I mean, I know what electives are. I don't know what they are in this context. But so codeschool.com, a lot of different courses there, similar to Codecademy and its delivery method. I definitely suggest checking it out. All right, page speed. Developers.google/speed/pagespeed/insights. So have you ever wondered how fast your page loads? You want to say, hey man, I don't know if I have a janky web page or not. This is one great tool to do that. And there's a bunch of great developer tools. This is just one that I think is kind of cooler, where you can throw your page in here. It will analyze it. And we can do something real quick. Let's see what my web page loads at. This is where they tell me I made a janky AngularJS page, which I probably did because it was my first thing. So low, 52 out of 100. And by the way, they show you how to fix some stuff. They give you suggestions on how you can optimize it. That's kind of cool that they actually load in the phone here, though, right? This is yesterday's video. Anyhow, so but they'll give you suggestions. They just won't tell you, hey, it's shit. They'll say, hey, it's shit, but let me tell you how to fix that shit a little bit. So that's the page speed on developer tools. Slack. Slack is an amazing resource for when you are working in a collaborative environment where you need to have a group chat and you want to get messages when someone messages you on Slack. I've used Slack for a number of projects, and I honestly wish I used it more, but I just don't like working with other people. That's the truth. I want to, in my personal projects, they're personal. Personal meaning just me. So I don't use Slack as much as I used to. I learned that when I started trying to do group projects outside of work, that I just like working by myself. I don't know. It's nothing personal to the world. But Slack is a great resource. You'll find that a lot of organizations have integrated Slack into their platform, into their website, and I think it's great. So Trello is a... How would you define Trello? Trello, how do they define Trello? Boards, lists, and cards. All right. So Trello is a board, list, and card platform where you can essentially define your tasks that you have to do. And this is really helpful in my opinion because a lot of times you'll be having a very similar board in the workplace where you'll have some tickets and you'll need to move it along as it's getting done, right? And that's kind of how I look at Trello. But a lot of times people just use Trello to share resources. Maybe you'll have a, the best 100 or the 50 web dev resources. Someone might make their own version on Trello, for instance. So I think Trello is a great resource and something to check out in the future. All right. Jira. Oh my goodness. I bring this up not because I necessarily think it's a great resource, but because I think it's worth mentioning. So Jira is by Atlassian.com, is part of the Atlassian suite, is a paid for ticketing system and management system in software, and it allows it's essentially the real world version. This is the more popular version of a ticketing system used by a lot of organizations. And I just wanted to bring that up for Jira. There's a lot of ticketing systems and workflow systems like this. And I encourage you to review, just be familiar with how the development process goes. Because a lot of times this is something that gets overlooked. You just sort of get a job and you're like, what the hell is all this? I thought I was just going to write code. But there's a little bit more to it than that in terms of a business side of things. My minifier is not working. GitHub, try.github.io. So a lot of times people are very confused by Git. And there's this wonderful site called try.github.io that has about 15 challenges to help teach you GitHub and what they think is important. So if you're interested in learning GitHub, a very quick interactive tutorial. I've done it before. It's very helpful. I encourage you to check it out. I also love this cat. I don't know how this cat octopus thing came to be, but whoever the creator and I are on the same wavelength because I love everything going on here. But yeah, if you're interested in learning GitHub, check that out. All right, we're getting there. We're almost there. Jsbin. Jsbin is a JavaScript HTML output. So sometimes you may want to test some things and then run your code and run it with JS and preview it. You can have all that ability in Jsbin. It's really helpful a lot of times where you can choose what you're going to put in. If you're going to have HTML, CSS, turn it on, turn it off, and run it to see it. A lot of times you'll see in documentation sometimes links to Jsbin or just to give examples, be like, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's a Jsbin to showcase that. Which brings us to our next one, JS Fiddle, which is a equally great resource. It's very similar to Jsbin. Honestly, there's so many of these sort of run your JavaScript code, run your front end code sites that there's probably 5 more that you could list in the description below that would take that might even be better than these, but those are the 2 that I've used the most. I'm probably leaving one out. All right, something a little different. Css-Tricks.com. Oh my goodness. if you understood how many of us front-end web developers were bad at CSS, you understand why this site exists and why it's so great. So css-tricks.com is something I use all the time when I want to make things spicy. When I want to, I mean, look at this. I couldn't do this. I couldn't. This is just a box jumping up and down and expanding. That's next level. I can't do that. It's one of those things that you get exposed to a lot of different things in CSS, and there's very few great next level CSS sites. So css-tricks.com is a great resource. How could we have this list not have Stack Overflow? If you're unfamiliar with Stack Overflow, then you probably don't code. That's probably the only way that you're unfamiliar with Stack Overflow. The Stack Overflow is essentially a organization that people post questions about code and issues they're having, and then they get answers. That's really the gist of it, or hopefully they get answers. So a lot of times when you're running into a problem with how to write a C# program to detect duplicate code, or you have a instance how to calculate someone's age in C#, you'll get upvoted things and see examples like so, and get resources. Oftentimes you'll just search in Google, and 9 times out of 10 the response, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are Stack Overflow responses. So you should be pretty familiar with Stack Overflow. Upskillscourse.com, learn to code for free. Premium web development courses. What else needs to be said about Upskill? They add new content monthly. They have a bunch of free courses that are worth checking out. A lot of times we like that free stuff. You can check their course library. They mainly focus on web dev, and you can see all these sort of courses. And not everything's free, but you get a start. You get to see that let's start knocking things out piece by piece. Get exposed to a lot and go on. This section's pretty solid. But check them out at upskillcourses.com. All right, Coursera, another great platform. Now, I traditionally have been using Udemy, but I know some people like Coursera. It's worth checking out. If you're interested in programming, you can see that they have about 800 courses here just in programming. And a lot of them all of them, as far as I know, are from universities, which make them stand out. So if you're interested in the MIT sort of program courses and fundamentals, you can see these are all from organizations and universities. So that kind of what makes them stand out. Similar with edX, which is they are another learning platform that is all about the universities being behind these courses. It adds a special little bit of flair that goes into a online traditional platform, online education supported by the traditional organizations. We'll leave it at that. GitHub. Did I not cover GitHub yet? No, I did not. So GitHub is and GitHub for that matter is a great resource for you to keep versions of your code live, or keep versions of your code and be able to have people look at your code, pull branches down, or pull repos down rather, and make their own changes and play around with it, and just organize your code and be able to check out other people's code. I did a really bad job explaining GitHub. Let me start over. GitHub.com is a place where you can store your code and other people can view it. Other people can edit it if you allow them to by pulling it down, and it's a great place for you to store it so that you can show potential employers. That's as good as it's gonna get right now. It's 7:30 in the morning. I've been up since 5. All right, cut me some slack. So Khan Academy is an OG. Some of us back in the day were really all over Khan Academy before learning platforms were really a thing. There's kind of the OG learning platform where this is going to cover a lot more of the traditional education stuff, such as algebra, geometry, even early on, early math, 8th grade level. But it also has a lot of computer programming, computer science, does an excellent job, and it goes into other things, college related. It is a great free platform. I definitely encourage you to check out KhanAcademy.com. HackerRank. If you like solving algorithms, HackerRank's got a buttload. All right, so if that's what you're into, you can go over to HackerRank and start playing around with their practice tests, with all that sort of stuff. They have so many. It's really ridiculous. I'm not logging in. All right. So another great place to do this is Code Wars. Code Wars allows you to essentially battle other developers to the death. And you assert your dominance when you win. Code Wars is a great algorithm site. You can see right here that they have a ton of different programming languages, and it allows you to solve algorithms, which I think is one of the harder things to do as a developer. The Odin Project. Okay, the Odin Project is an online open source bootcamp that focuses specifically on Ruby on Rails. I've yet to dive into it because I have no interest in Ruby and Ruby on Rails, but people seem to love the Odin Project. It's worth checking out. It's one of the very few resources for Ruby and Ruby on Rails in terms of online interactive programs. Check it out. Team Treehouse. .com. So, Team Treehouse is a online learning platform. They have a ton of videos. They're about $25 to $50 a month. They also have practice projects, interactive, and you earn little badges to show that you solved the project. It's basically a $25 a month to $50 a month learning platform. But honestly, in today's world, unless you really like the people who are working at Team Treehouse, I just think $50 a month is a lot to ask when you get 5 courses and own them for about the same amount. But it is worth noting that they are very high quality courses, and I think they do a very good job. And they have over 1,000 videos on there, and that doesn't include any of their practices or anything like that. All right, Font Awesome. The icon god himself, they just released Font Awesome 5. But Font Awesome is a icon list here. It's probably the most popular one, where you have a bunch of open source icons. So let's say you want a back button. You could use here's back, and it'll show you what icons are available. It's just an external resource. I highly encourage you to, if you need icons, go to fontawesome.io. I already talked about Bootstrap. CodePen. How can we talk about CodePen? How can we do this without talking about CodePen? CodePen is a great platform for you to see other people's front-end projects, as well as to create and store your own, right? So GitHub, you store your code, but let's say you want an actual working version of your project. You can go ahead and throw it up on CodePen and allow people to jump through here, as well as just see how much better people are than you on CSS and in general. It's really quite impressive. Like, what is this? The CSS 3D Convertomatic. There is no JavaScript on this, guys. Did you see this? This is how much better this guy is than me right now. This is how I feel about this. But CodePen has a lot of great stuff. I've seen so many interesting things on CodePen that it's hard to even put in words. Like this is just a great example of such a thing. So Meetup.com. Meetup.com is a place for you to find meetups. I went to a meetup last week where they were talking about blockchain. They were talking about Node and React, and in there's 3 separate companies taking resumes. So if you're looking for a job, meetups are a great place to go, as well as to educate and learn, right? I'm not looking for a job, but I'm there to learn. But meetup.com, you'll see a lot of, I don't know, let's change our thing. And every organization is different, or every area is different, but like say we wanted to do JavaScript. So you'll see right here, how to test smart contracts. I'm going to that. That's about Solidity, which is a Ethereum contract building thing. Building apps with Salesforce, and then I believe I'm already signed up for building a Vue.js app. So it's a great way for you to get familiar. You can see right here, there's 66 people going to this. I think it's a great way for you to get introduced to network as well as to learn. All right. On that note, angelhack.com. This is my favorite hackathon organization. They have great hackathons. Now, the problem with them is that they really are they're far and few between, but it's worth mentioning because I think they put on such a tremendous hackathon that they have hackathons in various cities, although apparently none right now. What's going on here? I don't know if my internet's going slow or what, but Angel Hack Hackathon, it's about, usually they have like a $10 cover charge, but they'll feed you like 3 meals, unlimited drinks. You'll get t-shirts, stickers, like cups. It's ridiculous. And it's just a good time. You meet a lot of people, and you usually, they're giving away, thousands upon thousands of dollars in prizes at every one I've ever gone to. I've yet to win a prize, though. I've yet to win a prize. You guys are too good out there. MLH.io, the Major League Hackathon. So if you're a college student in the U.S., there is the Major League Hackathon, in which they have usually 2 to 3 day hackathons at various campuses in various cities. You can see this is all that's going on in 2018. There is a ton of them, and I wish I went to more when I was in school. Now I feel like an old man, so I don't go. I can't. Although technically, your boy's back in school. I'll show up, establish my dominance, and then leave. But yeah, check it out if you're a college student and you're interested in going to hackathons. Looks great on your resume. It's a great way to network, a great way to make a little bit of extra money, and have fun in the process. So MLH.io. LiveEDU.tv. If you ever wanted high quality live coding, building out projects, LiveEDU.tv is where it's all at. Now, they cover more than just development, but that is the bulk of it, right? They'll cover data science and game development, design, AR, VR, AR programming. So I guess that all can fall into development. But they are an education platform that is focused on development, and I encourage you to check them out. It's a great organization. You might have known them by their old name, livecoding.edu. And finally, last but not least, devdocs.io. If you're looking for a great documentation resource, someone shared this with me and I use it all the time. Devdocs.io has a bunch of wonderful documentation here, organized piece by piece. Let's say we go to Express. We go ahead and open Express. It's going to load. It's going to break it down. Have all this great documentation. And the larger the documentation, the more in detail they will be. D3, for instance, will break out between D3 and D4 and tell you what you need to know as a developer. It's very clean. It's very organized. I personally love it. But yeah, guys, that is my 36-minute video going over 50 online resources. I'm going to lose my voice. I'm very tired. I have to go to work now. I almost did 100, but then I'd be late for work. So you have to wait for part 2 eventually. So this is my 50 resources. Please let me know in the comments below if there's any that I left off this list that you think is a must-have. Dylan, why didn't you say this? Unsubscribe. No, don't do that. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share. Please support me on Patreon. Please, 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 please. I will see you guys tomorrow. No, I won't. This is a video. This isn't a live stream. I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. I gotta go work. I don't know what I'm talking about. And baby, I'm trying to make a end and skit versus, you got anything? Yeah, me neither. Hey guys, I just want to thank you for watching the video. If you're interested in checking out any of my courses, or you want to join our Facebook group, Code Tech and Caffeine, the links for that will be in the description. If you could drop a like and go ahead and share the video, that really helps out the channel more than anything else. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.